Are you working on planning to work in Spain and not sure how much you'll have to pay in taxes? Have you heard the term IRPF, but still don't really understand what is or how it works? In this video, we'll explain everything you need to know about IRPF as a foreigner living in Spain, so you can understand this topic once and for all. Let's get started. Hi everyone, I'm Ainhoa, tax advisor at the law firm Balcells Group. In today's video, we are going to cover one of the most important and most confusing topics for any foreigner starting to work in Spain, IRPF. We'll look at what this tax is, how it works, how the annual tax return works, and we'll divide this explanation in two parts. First, we'll see how IRPF affects your monthly payslip if you work for a company and what happens when it's time to file your annual tax return. Second, and we will also explain how freelancers must manage it on their invoices to clients, as well as how the annual returns works in that case. All of that here. Let's start with the basics. What is IRPF? IRPF stands for Impuesto sobre la Renta de las Personas Físicas, or Personal Income Tax. That is, it's a tax applied to any income you earn in Spain as an individual, whether that's through employment, freelancing, renting out properties, or earning interest from a bank. If you're a foreigner and spend more than 183 days a year in Spain, which is actually required if you want to renew your residence permit, you become a tax resident, and this means you must pay IRPF on all income you generate worldwide, including in Spain and in any other continent where you've had any activity. It's a progressive tax, meaning the more you earn, the higher the percentage you pay. In 2025, tax brackets range from 19% to 47%, depending on your income level and the autonomous community where you live. On screen, we will show a reference so you can get a general idea of what you might expect to pay based in your income. But again, the exact percentage depend on many factors, including deductions based on your specific case or the region of Spain you live, as we've said. When and how you have to pay it. There are two different times when you pay the tax. First, and most important, is through the annual tax return. You must file known as the Declaración de la Renta, which is submitted between April and June each year, covering the previous year's income. Second, during the year itself, via your monthly payslip if you are employed, or through invoices to clients if you are self-employed. We'll go into more detail on it now. Let's first focus on when you are required to file the annual return, or more importantly, when you might not have to, because not everyone pays for the first euro earned. There are minimum exemption thresholds that depend on the personal situation. If you only have one payer, for example, one employer, you only need to file if you earn more than 22,000 euros per year. If you have two or more payers and the second one pays you more than 1,500, the threshold drops to 14,000 euros. If you are self-employed, you are always required to file, even if your income is low. With that said, let's see how this tax is paid throughout the year, depending on whether you are employed or self-employed. IRPF for employees. If you are employed, for example, working under a contract for a company, IRPF is automatically deducted from your monthly payslip. This is called IRPF withholding. Your employer estimates approximately how much tax you should pay for the tax year and deducts the tax amount from your salary each month. That way, the tax office, Hacienda, receives this money in advance and you don't have to pay everything at once in your annual tax return, though you still have to file it. When you submit your tax return, one of two things can happen. On one hand, you may have overpaid through this monthly withholding. In that case, you will get a refund. On the other hand, you have unpaid. In this case, you will have to pay the difference. Generally speaking, if you are employed, the withholding is usually very accurate. So whether you need to pay or receive money in your annual tax return, that amount will be minimal. For IRPF for the self-employed, if you are self-employed, the process is different since you don't have a monthly payslip with automatic deductions. You are responsible for including IRPF in your invoices. How? During the first 3 years, you can apply a reduced rate of 7%. After that, the standard rate is 15%. You deduct this percentage on each invoice, and it's your client, the invoice recipient, who pays it directly to the tax office. At the end of the year, in the tax return, the total IRPF you owe is recalculated, taking into account all your income and deductible expenses. You may have to pay more or get a refund, depending on whether those payments made via invoices were sufficient. Deductions and tax relief. Finally, let's go over a very important point, deductions. These are expenses that reduce your taxable income, meaning you will pay less IRPF. Whether you are employed or self-employed, you can benefit from deductions. Rent on your main residence, children or dependents, charitable donations, pension plans contributions, and if you're self-employed, all expenses related to your professional activities. However, these deductions are only applied once a year when you file your annual tax return, so even though you pay monthly, it's not until the end of the year that everything is adjusted. And that's all for today's video. As you can see, IRPF and taxes in Spain aren't the simplest topic, but they are a legal obligation you must comply with, regardless of how well you understand the system. That's why, whether you are employed or self-employed, good tax planning from the beginning can save you a lot of money and a lot of headaches. It helps you understand which deductions apply to your case so you can pay less, and ensures you meet all your annual and quarterly tax obligations. If you have questions about your situations or need help with your invoices, withholding, or filing your tax return, write to us at info@balseisgroup.com and we will help you to optimize your tax situation in Spain. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, so you don't miss any other key videos like this one that will help you in your new life in Spain. See you in the next video.